Hey everybody, it's Jay from Simple Woods Life. We're gonna be boiling today. Now I have here my boiler, my evaporator, my maple arch. It's just a simple, I bought an old oil drum off of the Facebook marketplace there. And I bought a kit that included the door, the legs, the damper. Cut the holes, bing bong boom. There's my there's my thing done. Now the first year I did it with cinder blocks. And I just made a U of cinder blocks, just big enough that my pans would sit on top of it. And at the bottom of it, the back of the U, the base of the U, I'd left a little hole and brought a chimney out of that. And I actually had the chimney sort of focused away to keep junk out of the sap. It ended up not being necessary. There wasn't a lot of junk coming down. But yeah, I mean, my brother-in-law does it. He's got a little tripod with a pot, and he'll just do it over a campfire. This is more the setup that you get into if you have a lot to boil, and then variations from here as they go up. As a small batch, simple setup, this is what we've got.
But there's more than one way to skin a cat. Ew, that phrase is gross.
It's not the greatest setup in the world. It's a really simple setup. But I don't know if you can hear, the geese are back. And there's one particular goose that I don't like. His name's Carl, and he's been taunting me for the last 4 seasons that we've been out here. So hopefully he doesn't show himself, because he's a nasty little rascal. So I'm gonna chop up a little bit of kindling, and then we're gonna get this thing started, and we'll have ourselves a little boil uppity boil of the boiling. It's the boiling of the maple syrup time.
Anyway. The sap is harvested when the buckets need emptying or the temperatures are on the rise. We transport the sap in 5-gallon buckets. As long as we have snow, we can keep the sap fresh by burying it into a berm until boiling day arrives. You could also use a big fridge or a cooler, but this is easy for us.
I've got my pans, I've got my chairs, I've got my paper to start the fire, I got my matches, got my axe, got my hatchet. I've got a little bit of wood I probably need to split, and we've got a whack-a-ton of sap saved up. We'll fire her up. It's maple syrup time! It's maple syrup time! It's time for maple syrup! I do lose a lot of heat in this setup because I haven't lined it with fire bricks or anything of that nature. When I build the sugar shack and we move into there, I'm definitely going to be looking at some fire bricks. See if I can't find some sort of a bottom tray. I've got like some little wire grills in there, but like, this is a game of airflow. This is almost at a spot now where I could start throwing some sap on.
If you put the pans on the fire empty, you can quickly scorch the sap when you pour it in. Best to have some liquid in them before you set them in place. But be careful, this can be tricky.
So wood-wise, I'm using whatever I've got. That all depends on what I've been doing out in the woods over the course of the summer. It's rare I take a tree down pointlessly, but something like a widowmaker or a something of that nature, I'm always cutting up and pulling back. So I've got some birch here, which is great because it's a nice hardwood. Doesn't burn too clean, but it's a nice hardwood. I've also got, you know, whatever life throws at me. So there could be some ash, there's definitely cedar and pine. And like I said, with fire bricks, we could get this to be quite a bit more efficient. But that's a next year thing. So now we've got a nice boil going. As this boils down, we'll just keep adding this. This is kind of acting like a pre-warmer, but we'll just keep moving this over to here. We'll keep adding fresh sap to this. I will fill up that other pan with the sap, and I'll just sort of place it near the fire so it's not like I'm putting in ice cold stuff.
You smart.
The foam that accumulates on this, you just take that foam and just get rid of it. It's not gonna do you any good.
You very smart.
You know, you can't eat it. You can't put it on top of like a cake. The other thing, gentlemen, or ladies, but mostly gentlemen, I have a tendency to stand right here and do this. I also have a tendency to not realize how hot my zipper has become until I find out. So, mind yourself. Ow. Act accordingly.
You a genius.
Now, we just have a nice boil. It's not even that big of a boil yet, because I mean, we really just started. As this starts to go on, you're gonna love the part where the smell will begin to hit you. That whole air will get sweet. This will get bigger and bigger and bigger. All you gotta do right now is maintain your fire. Just keep adding logs to it, keep doing your thing, and playing with the amount of airflow, you know, whatever is working for you. Earlier, the door open was working for me, but I think I'm gonna close that up now that I've got a good base going. We'll just keep boiling. Boiling, adding, taking from here into there, boiling, here, foam, add more. That's the day, right? You sneak in a couple of beers while you're at it. Who's gonna say anything about anything? Cheers, everybody. You'll also start to notice the change in the color of the sap. The back pan is hotter, a lot more water's being evaporated versus the front pan. So the back pan begins to take on, the sap begins to take on sort of a I want to say amber, but it's not quite amber, a yellowier hue. Yellowier doesn't sound good. It's more of an amber hue. And that'll just get darker and darker as time goes on. We're not doing any kind of concern right now for the grade of syrup that we're making, you know, like fancy grade A dark. Like we get what we get, and it's usually quite delicious. So as time goes on, in a few years, maybe in a decade, I might be sitting there saying, look at, I've got the 4 grades. Whatever, not right now. So you can see that this pan is way, way, way darker, eh? Sap becomes syrup at 219 degrees.
Let's get some science up in this.
Maple sap turns into syrup when the water is boiled off, concentrating the sugars to a 66 to 67% sugar content. This typically occurs at a temperature of 7.5 degrees Fahrenheit, above the boiling point of water, or 219 degrees Fahrenheit. However, that temperature is a guide and can be affected by your altitude. Here's a fun experiment. Fill up a pot of water and find out what temperature it boils where you live. Then add 7.5 degrees Fahrenheit to that number. This will be where your sap turns into syrup. Pretty much magic, eh? I mean, that's more fun than tossing mad sueys up the middle, bro. So, if water boils at 212 degrees Fahrenheit at the altitude where you are, then your sap will have reached the syrup stage once it gets to 219.5 degrees Fahrenheit. It's f***ing science.
This is a candy thermometer, by the way. You can buy these at Canadian Tire for like $7. $6? I can't remember. They're dumb cheap. So if you do this, because you'd think, you know, by the color, to get nice and syrupy. And, oh, look at that. She's climbing almost up to 220. And don't be fooled, okay? First of all, there's no way. Second of all, you can tell by the way that runs, that's not syrup. I can't see. There's something called, oh, I can't think of the name of it. What's it called? What's that? Like when something's thick and viscous. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'll write it below here. I can't think of it. I'll probably yell it out later. You'll have like a lacing going down here if it was really turning into sap. Or turning into syrup. You'd see lacing on the back of your spoon. So one thing to do, take this, take it out of your fire, and measure it again. Right, and here now we're rising to 200 and we're stopping there. Okay, it's 19 degrees to go. I have a roaring fire going on down here. Like, it's an impressive fire. Hey man, freaking AJ. Pat myself on the back. Right there, Miss Lady would be like, careful around the fire. Yeah, I should be, shouldn't I? The point I'm saying is I've got a massive fire going. That pan is super hot. There's probably about 7 million degrees worth of fire underneath the pan. So of course that radiant heat is gonna mess with our thermometer. Color alone is not the way to do it. The way to do it is to get things like refractometers and I don't know what I'm looking at over there. I thought it was Bosco, but it is not. What the hell it is? Some kind of a marmot. Hey, marmot! Hey, marmot! Marmot! What the f were we talking about? Oh yeah, you want to get like a refractometer, and like they've got really draw off and measure, and there's all kinds, like the maple syrup folks, Big Maple, they know how to do it. This is just, you know, it's about the same, but just way less good.
We the best.
We're just gonna keep boiling, and maybe we'll do a little jig. We'll do a little jig. And yeah, we just keep going. This is the game, guys. Like no long and short of it. Bring yourself a book. Bring yourself a sketch pad, radio. If you do have a nap, bring yourself an alarm clock to like wake up every little bit and check the fire. One of them portable movies, huh? That all the kids have on their tablets and such. Perhaps you could watch The Great Escape with Steve McQueen. It's a good movie. It's a fantastic movie. Damn, that's a good movie. I might watch that later today. You know, bring your phone. Bring your phone and play your Wordle. Whatever. I was watching a couple of videos. I was watching Chris at the Jack Homestead do his third boil. How's it going, Chris? So, you know, because it's not tapping them is fun, and collecting is fun, and starting the fire is fun, and finishing is fun. But boiling can be to some kind of boring. A little bit. It's me. You guys thought I was Robert De Niro.
A little bit.
No, I'm not. So that's a thing that you thought that you shouldn't have thought. I'm gonna fill this back up, and I'm gonna transfer this pan to that pan, fill this pan back up, stock the fire, and repeat. So the back pan is, I'd say, 3/4 of the way down. This is getting very, very low. So I'm gonna dump this into the back. I'll put the lid over that to sort of keep the flames in, and then I'm gonna push the wood to the back to just get a mondo fire. Just a mondo. 20 gallons of sap in 8 hours. So that's it. That's all we're doing here. Hey, huh? What? I'm gonna pour this into the stock pot. It's gonna be wicked. It's maple syrup time. Let's boil all our sap, and we will have some sticky, ooey gooey maple syrup. Thank you. There, glad I did that. That's it, that's all. Thanks for hanging out with me, everybody. I hope you had as much fun as I did, which is to say, quite a lot of fun. Wasn't that fun? I thought it was fun. Talk to you soon, guys.